Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening. Let's call it good evening. Oh, that was a disaster which is about to happen. So I am going to be decorating the salt pepper shakers. Need to prepare my slip. Well, it's ready, but needs to be mixed up. There we go. I know I'm not in screen, but I will be soon. You don't want me playing with dirty hands, do you? So many potters have asked me this about how I do my slip decoration and what tool I use. So this might be a good time to watch that. I essentially make my own tool. I don't use anything that's ready. It's basically kind of like a piping bag, which you use in cake decoration. I use something similar to that, which is just use mylar paper, dirty dirty mind, I guess. Oh. So that's how I prepare the cone. Just one piece of tape and that holds the cone together. And I fill it up with slip with the help of this syringe. And now that you say dirty mind, I can't get it out of my head. These syringes are actually from used by vets for you know what. Charles, you just had to go there. And I have to make sure I don't overfill this because then it makes a mess. Then things get really dirty and we don't want that. And go ahead and I close that up this way. Yes, by the way, good evening. Goodness. Okay. That was a clay dust cough, which is a thing which happens because I need to clean the studio very desperately, but don't have the patience right now to do that. Okay, Okay, since this is filled up, and then to cut it open, I use nail clippers, which work pretty well most of the time. Don't tell me I have a piece of sparkle going in there. Fiber sparkle, always fun. So that makes a decent line. Yeah. If it was too narrow, then I would make the hole a little bigger, but I think this is good. So while that is resting, I do need to. So I did paint up these salt pepper shakers, and I did make a hole where the stopper will go. And I need to just slightly smoothen out the hole because it was freshly cut, and I don't want any sharp corners to that. So just running my finger along the edge there. So the way I decorate them is I have a reason why they are painted the way they are. I have paired them up. Basically, one of them will be the salt and the other one will be the pepper, back and forth. And so I'll pipe out a pattern which is similar. So that way when they are in the kiln, I'll be able to tell which two go together when they come out. And so that's how the pairing is done. It's the same color and the combination. That's like bright blue. And some of these are getting on the drier side, which is not good. Is your mind getting dirty again, Charles? Should I not do evening shows? I should stick to morning. Okay, these are done. Next to do the others. You're busy at work. Come, you're working so late. So are you at work or are you working from home work? Now I could take a sponge to this to finish this, but I have realized the sponge actually makes the surface a lot rougher. I think I had spoken about it last time too. But whenever possible, I tend to avoid the sponge to smoothen things down, and I also avoid using excessive water. Oh, you don't get on during morning video? No, I just thought your mind was just drifting away. So I thought you were not fresh enough in the evening and just tired, and maybe a morning video will let you focus on what I'm doing. Not that this requires any focus at all, it's just background noise. Am I right? But it is definitely nice to have your company. You can't see smoothing the hole. I'm done doing it. Goodness. Oh no. Okay. I have to start decorating these now, so maybe this angle will work. If not, let me see. What do I have? Okay. I can already tell that the colors are really off while doing this, but it's fine. It's looking very turquoisey blue in the camera, according to what I can see. It's actually it's a very blue. It's not a turquoisey blue. Try do some here. So let's just fill this up. So these look like very decorative pillows at the end of the day, like filled with embroidery designs. Yeah, it looks medium blue. It's not the right shade. I don't know how to describe it, and trying to fix something on the camera sometimes takes long. Okay, let me try to see if I can do the quick fix. And it's definitely, not how the color is going to look once it's fired, but it still bothers me that you cannot see what the color is really. It's much warmer than what appears. Is that accurate? No. Is it cooler than that? No. No, that's a weird color. Yeah, that looks a little better. Let's keep it at that. Yeah, that looks more or less accurate. So if you recollect the design I had done on its partner, I kind of need to make a similar design on this guy. And then just fill it up just like I had done on that one. There you go. So that way these two belong together. and I just freehand these designs. I don't draw up sketches or anything. Not because, they're all slightly different in size, so there is no particular reason for that, but I kind of like that, surprise that, oh, look what happened here, or, well, my lines didn't meet there, and you just let it go. I want that very organic form because, when the pillow is kind of, just thrown on your couch or something, it doesn't look like a perfectly symmetrical, like the pattern looks all turned and twisted, and like it's not perfectly square. So why should this kind of organic pattern decoration kind of adds to that, you know handmade look to it? So that's going to be this one, and then let me keep that. Can you else? No, you won't be able to see it. Why I decorate the other? No point. So this one I will decorate similar to that one. So this one, let's see if I can make a similar design. It's a matter of dividing these up into equal size squares. There is an air pocket which is trying to bug me right now. There we go. And of course, after these dry up a little, I'm going to smoothen out this texture a little bit. It'll still be very textural, but then I also need to make the holes in it for, calling one salt and the other one for pepper. So there's still work that needs to be done. And even the thickness of the stripe around, I changed that often. If you look at the blue one, it wasn't, you know, this wide. In this, it is. But that just gives me an opportunity to do different patterns. If there's more surface, I can do some complex designs like this one. And now we go ahead and add some add-ons to this, which make it a lot more interesting and complex. So basically, any negative space that I'm seeing out here, I'm just trying to fill it in. And there we go. So that's what that creates. This is one of my favorite designs. Of course, it takes me longer than anything else, but that's always the case. Even when I had started doing these patterns, slip decoration patterns on clay, I never drew out a template or anything because from the very start I was like, I just want it to be organic. So now this and this are going to go together. Okay, let's see. Oh, let's try some very I just said let's try some perfect straight lines, and I encounter an air pocket. Yeah, air pockets while doing slip decoration is not fun. Okay, let's see. You can see the lines are not perfectly even, but it adds to the design actually. The slight thickness and thinness of the lines. Once the piece is fired and finished, it looks really cool. And the way I glaze these is the black ones, they'll get a perfect match. Um, the black ones will get a blue glaze over them. The blue ones will get a green glaze over them, and the red ones will get a honey glaze over them. So again, we need to match. So I can make just plain straight lines around this, but let's do something interesting. So that will just, rather than just making straight lines running all across the square, I just put a divider line in between. And I want to make the lines go this way. There. So now this and this will go together. So instead of just running, straight diagonal lines even on this guy, I just kind of divided it in half. I don't think I might have done that before. Who knows? Okay, now I kind of need to think of some other cool patterns. Let me do. I like doing the outer square ones first, and then doing the inner square ones, because these are kind of sometimes hard to, or take a little bit more thought in how the pattern is going to go on. Not that I'm really putting in much thought, but still. Certain straight lines, you have curves. What should I do? What should I do? Let's do some. There we go. So I know what I want to do on the edges. Just make these leaf-like structures. So that's what goes on the edges. I have to decide what to do in between. here. Slightly different. I know in all these years in my salt pepper shakers I haven't made this design before. Curled S's. Okay, that'll go on the next one. Okay, so that's the pattern we have for this one. I think it looks really ornate. So now let's try to do, this is going to be interesting. How am I going to add something in here which makes sense? I've got the edge done. Oh, I know what I can do. Kind of similar to what I did for the previous black one, where I divided it in half and then let's do that. And then out here too. Okay. And then should go in this direction. I think that looks good. Candy cane stripes. Okay, well, let's do that. The next one is going to be red. So this one and this one, I think they go together well. Yeah, they have like elements which work together. So this one goes there. Now, candy cane stripes. So challenging. Okay, let's choose this guy for candy cane stripes, which is definitely going to be my interpretation of candy cane stripes. So let's see. It's going to be tricky what to do along the edges, but let's see. I'm just kind of making a border first. Candy cane stripes are essentially almost just straight diagonal lines, right? They have a slight curve to them. I have no idea what to do with the corner though. I think it works. it's doing something. Yeah, they need to be different thicknesses. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, it's just looking too boring. So rather than just doing a different thickness, let me add some texture to alternate ones. I don't even know whether uh, if the alternate does not match up, like towards the end, if I don't land up having alternate stripes, I'll just do it to all of them. So it's not, it is making them thicker, but it is also adding some, it doesn't match up. I have I have two straight lines and one of those. So what should I do? I will introduce one out here. How about that? So candy cane. My way of doing candy cane. There. So that they go together. Okay. Now I wanted to do something with straight lines now. Since we did get curves on that one. Mm, so this kind of right now looks similar to the first one. Hey Duffy, I am decorating salt pepper shakers. So it's kind of like one of the earlier ones I did, at least it started off similar to this, like the layout of the design, but I'm changing it up. So that's what I can kind of divide up the whole thing into similar segments of a pattern, but then I just go ahead and play with it as I please. So these are, now I think it needs something else because the empty red spaces are looking too empty for me. So let's see. Yeah, I like that. As you can see, I don't really go back and forth and change the colors, or I mean, change my lines, or if it's not coming out perfect, it's fine. If one is smaller than the other, it's fine. when it's finished, it all looks fine. So I like that. And now to make its matching salt shaker, if that is a pepper one, I don't know. Do I usually put two holes in the one which is decorated on the edge, and I put one hole in the one that's decorated in the center. So which one do you use pepper for? I think the one with more holes, right? Because you definitely don't want to add more salt. I think salt is the one with just one hole. So this would be the salt shaker. At least in my mind, that's what I think it should be. Okay, now we need to divide this. Ooh, I want to do triangles and I want to do that. And it's not square. So let's, okay, I think I know what I want to do. I'm gonna divide it up into squares of sorts, and then divide it up into triangles this way. So I've got my triangles, and then let's fill up the triangles. Halfway we will do the straight lines, and in the other half I will do that leaf pattern. So I do that there. Pepper has larger and salt has smaller. So I make the same size holes, except I just do two holes in the pepper ones and one in the salt. So there's that guy is going to be this guy's partner. So see, they go together. All right, now let's do some. Duffy, do you have a request or a suggestion on a pattern or a shape? Not guaranteed I will do it like that, but you know, it just lands up being my interpretation of the design. I still have 3 more pairs to do. So anyone else too, if you're watching, if you'd like to give a suggestion on what pattern, paisley. Paisley, I'm kind of doing paisleys right now. Well, I consider these swirlies as paisleys. And thanks for chiming in. Feathers. Okay. Feathers is interesting. Oh my gosh, I'm running out of slip in my cone. See, I consider this particular design very much like paisleys. They're kind of like half paisleys. Chevron. Oh, chevron is cool. Yeah, let's do chevron next. Okay, we'll do chevron and then do feathers. While I think what to do for feathers actually, because But chevron, think I don't think I've done chevron kind of pattern in a long time. But it's going to be kind of like the triangle shapes I did earlier, except there'll be chevrons. Chevrons is basically a bunch of zigzags, right? If my mind is thinking correctly. Okay, that guy needs a partner, so I need to finish this before I move on to the chevrons. There. Chevron like herringbone? I was thinking of just nested zigzags. Okay, let's see. I think the chevron in the center square would be more obvious. In this, it might be. Okay, I'm going to do. This is not necessarily chevrons. It's the way I'm doing chevrons, basically. You'll be like, that's not chevrons. He's just making triangles. He does not listen. He just does what he wants. Exactly. So, actually, this might land up being more like herringbone pattern. It might not be so obvious in this. I know you cannot see it yet, but let me finish it. And it will. I think this would qualify as herringbone. What do you say, Anne? Yes? I have two more left. And I'm running out of slip. This is so annoying. The reason why I don't sketch my patterns out first is because then this doesn't happen where there's an offset in the pattern, and I think those kinds of things make things look a little bit more interesting than having it like that very perfectly centered and symmetrical, and this, and then I think this does qualify as herringbone, don't you think? I agree. I need to prepare another cone, so you will get to see me do that since I'm out of slip in this one. And these cones that I make are one-time use. That's the sad part about it, but you can see I can decorate a lot of pieces with them. I want to make sure I don't my hands are like not gripping onto the plastic very well because they are filled with cleaners. It's like having talcum powder on your hands and trying to get a grip on something. So that's the cone, and then I use the syringe to fill up its lid. I don't want a whole lot because I just have two more pairs to do. So any other request on patterns by the time I get this ready? Trying to get rid of the air pockets if there are any. We don't want those. And then this thing gets closed up. And that's what I use for my decoration then. Just apply a piece of tape on the top. And the key to using these is actually not overfilling them. It's very tempting to just fill a lot of slip in it so you don't have to, make another cone. But you see, it doesn't take much time to make another cone. But if you had if it was, with extra slip, it would be oozing out and it would be much more of a pain because you'd be cleaning your hands like 20 times. And that's not fun either. Okay, feather. That's what Duffy had requested, right? Let's do the feather. Feathers. Approved, not approved. Okay, after feathers, I need one more request. Put a tiny feather there. So, approved for feathers, right? Cool. Let's do this matching salt shaker with feathers. I'm just going to kind of randomly throw feathers in there. of different sizes and in different directions, because why not? There, more feathers. All right, last one. Any requests? Tell me a pattern. Mm, should I? Maybe I should. Okay, I'm just going to start since I'm not getting any requests. There's so many people watching. You can think of any pattern. Don't say neck pattern. Oh, curved S. What's a curved S? I don't know what a curved S is. I know you mentioned it earlier. I'm trying to think. Greek key. What's a Greek key pattern? Is it the one that goes like bricks like that? Is it that? Should I try something? In my head, what seems like a Greek. Kind of like that. And I guess I will join this up or not. Is this what? Is this something like what Greek key is? I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking of a Greek pattern and I'm like, okay, let's just do that. And now is when I will turn a Greek key pattern apparently to something else. I like it. Might not be what you had in mind when you told me Greek key, but hey. Reminds me of Tetris actually. Then a motif in the center of the spaces like a dot. Oh, it has a dot in it. I just made straight lines all over. It does look Greek to me though. Kind of reminds me of the edges and the decorations I've seen at in Greek restaurants. So we'll call it done. This was the last one anyway. And of course now my slip starts to do weird stuff. And this one I think I'll again divide it in half like that and do this Greek thing there. It's not exactly like a Greek key, but it's my design. Exactly. That's the way I kind of take these suggestions as a way that, okay, what do you want me to do? And then it kind of gives me a starting point to make my first line in a way. And then it just turns into something else, which I think is fine. It's like I don't want to you know, go online, find what the Greek key pattern is, and then duplicate that. Like when you said Greek key, the first thing which came to my mind was the Greek kind of, the squarish patterns I've seen at restaurants, and I said, let's start with that and see how I can change it. So that's my Greek key. All right, that was the last one. These are going to dry a little bit. And once they are at that perfect stage of dryness, I need to smoothen out the texture a little bit. So it's at some places it has some sharp points, so that needs to be smoothened out. And then I will be putting the holes in them for the salt and pepper to actually come off of it. So they are all done, and I will see you all next time. Thank you for joining. Bye.